Are you ready? It's time to get so happy. Hey everyone, Cristin here, and today we are going to start the Oh So Delightful So Happy quilt. So if you recall from the announcement video and the unboxing video and the prep video, we are going to be working on the Oh So Delightful projects. There are 8 projects total in the booklet, and we are going to start on the quilt, which is called So Happy. So today we are going to start with that. So some things that you need, as I mentioned in the other videos, real quick, you want your fabric kit or your own fabric stash. Either way will work fine. Mine's empty because I've already prepped all my fabrics. And then your embellishment kit, you will definitely want this. Mine's empty again because I've put it all in my packets. There's been a couple of questions on, so I want to point this out again. On the back of the embellishment kit, at the very bottom in this little wording, it says the items that are included, and it also says the items that are not included. So under this red part, all of these are included, and then there's a little note at the bottom that says what is not included. So there's been questions about that, the bamboo hoops especially, Flexifoam, shapeform interfacing, and the fiber fill for the pin cushions. Those are not included in the embellishment kit. So just a reminder, if you're going to do all 8 projects, you'll want to be prepared with those items. So again, this is the embellishment kit from our sponsor, My Girlfriend's Quilt Shop. And then the thread kit. I love the thread kit. So the thread kit just makes it so easy, right? We don't have to sit there and pick out, especially when there's a lot of fabrics, it's hard to pick out the colors. So this comes with all the colors that we need for our Oh So Delightful projects. I will include in every video and say, this is the color I'm using for this part. So you will be all set. So one other quick note is, as I mentioned in the prep video, there is in the booklet cutting guide and all of the different sizes and all of that. But on the CD, there's also another one, and that is the one that I used. It's actually how I recommend, but you do you. But this one, it just made it so that you have whatever fabric it is, it's got all of the different cuts for all 8 projects so that you can make sure that you have enough. Because if you just haphazardly cut, you may not have enough for all of the 8 projects. And just like in the book, it has the diagram to show you how to get the most out of your fabric. Okay, so this, like I said, is on the CD. This is the one I used. There's been some questions because some people just want to prepare for So Happy, and that's totally fine, totally up to you. I've heard from other people that it's best to stay with one. If you use the booklet for your cutting diagram, stay with that. If you use the CD, then stay with that. I think there's some discretion between the two. I'm not absolutely sure why, but I just used the one on the CD when I prepped my fabrics. So again, if you have your packets all prepared, then it's time. I did all 8 projects. I used all of my little packets. I think I used 41 packets total, if I recall. I will add a link to the packets. I don't remember if it goes there or there, but it'll be up at that top. And that is a direct link so that you can click on that to buy the packets if you haven't already done that. I also have a link under the video for the box. This box was from Target a ton of years ago, probably 20 years ago. But I found one on Amazon that is the same size and dimension, and it's clear so that you can see all your packets. So if you haven't already prepped, get ready. And you can also choose to prep as we go. I'm going to go over all of the sizes for each block we do, so it's totally up to you how you want to do it. It does take a lot of time. I actually watched several movies while I prepped my fabrics for this project, and that was relaxing. It was fine, but it's boring, right? You want to get sewing and have fun with your project. So if you only want to work on one block at a time, like I'll tell you what block we're going to work on. You can prep those fabrics, whatever works for you. It doesn't matter. But it's kind of nice when you have them all ready and I'll say, hey, we're going to work on scissors today. So you grab the scissors packet and you're all ready. So anyway, so we are going to work on the scissors blocks. So a couple of things with this one. There are 4 blocks total, and so we're starting out a little bit big. Don't get overwhelmed. I know a lot of people are doing this as their first big Kimberbell project. I'm so excited to have you join in. It's going to be fun. I promise that we do a lot of hand holding in Cristin Creates. You will not have to worry. And if you have a question, make sure to join the Facebook group, the Cristin Creates Facebook group. The community in that group is phenomenal. I mean, you can put out a question on anything and somebody's going to have an answer for you. So very, very, very helpful group. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about our first block. So like I said, we're going to do 4 today, but you can do it a couple of different ways. So on my packet, it says scissors and it says 10. That means it's on page 10, which you may not need to know, but I do. So that works for me. All right, so page 10, scissors. So I'm just going to quickly go over the products that we need for today. And this is actually a very easy one. It's really a good one to start. So one thing is that you can choose to join them all in one hooping. I am going to try that, and I will bring you over to the computer and see what works and how to do that. I'm using Embrilliance Essentials editing software or embroidery software. I would think that a lot of the techniques that I'm going to show you will transfer to whatever embroidery software you're using, or you can do one at a time. You can absolutely use your 5x7 hoop and do 1 block at a time, or if you have a somewhat larger hoop but not quite big enough for all 4, then you can do 2 at a time. That will save a lot of time. So really whatever works for you. The photos will still be the same whether you're doing 1 or 4. It will still work for you. Okay, so let's talk about our products for today. There's actually just 4 fabrics, super easy. So each of these, let me just show you each one. So pink, the first one is the pink arrows, and we are going to start with this at 6.5 by 6.5. As I mentioned in the prep video, I highly recommend backing this with Fusible stabilizer. It will help ward off puckers and keep your project crisp and neat. So I use the Kimberbell Fusible backing. Others use other products, whatever works for you, but definitely back your main fabric at least. I also choose to back my applique pieces, which there aren't any for this one, but at least do your main background fabric. All right, so again, the pink arrows, and this is, we're going to start with this at 6.5 by 6.5. 6.5 by 6.5 for our main fabric. This is for the first one, so scissors 1. And then for scissors 2, it's that really cute pink and yellow flowers. Again, 6.5 by 6.5, backed with Fusible stabilizer. For our main fabric, this is for scissors 2. All right, and then scissors 3 is the blue arrows. It's navy blue arrows. And again, 6.5 by 6.5 for our main fabric. We'll cut it down at the ending. We'll go over all of that step by step, so don't worry about it at this point. But 6.5 by 6.5 for your main fabric, backed with Fusible stabilizer. This is for scissors 3. And then scissors 4, our last one, is the green. I like to call these sunbursts. I don't know what they're called, but I consider them little sunbursts. They're probably flowers. I don't know what they are, but anyway, cute. So this is the green. It's again 6.5 by 6.5, backed with Fusible stabilizer for your main fabric, because this is for scissors 4. And that's all that we have for fabrics today. There's no applique pieces. We have some embroidery, and then we have some brads. How cute are these? Did you see these in the embellishment kit? So there's pink, white, yellow, and blue of the little tiny brads, and we are going to add those on before we have some embellishments that are for the end of the project, but these we will do right after we quilt them, right after we quilt and embroider them. And I'll show you how, don't worry, but make sure to have these close by because we will use them today. All right, and then we are going to quilt this. So we are going to quilt in the hoop. If you haven't done that before, it's really easy, and I show you step by step how to do it. I include on all the photos information as far as this is our batting tack down line. You know, all the information is on the tutorial, so just make sure to follow that. So I've had people forget to cut their batting, but it's on there. There is a photo showing the scissors and the batting and the little wording saying trim close to the batting line. So make sure to just follow along with the tutorial and you will do great. I absolutely promise. All right, so we are going to use batting. I'm using the Kimberbell Project batting. That's my favorite personally. I used to use Warm and Natural, and once I tried Kimberbell Project batting, I never went back. I really, really like this. So we are going to have 4 pieces of batting, and we are going to have them be 5 by 5. And the way that I figure out the batting is it's always a 1/2 inch larger than the final cut size. All right, so if our batting is 5 by 5, that means our final cut size is going to be 4.5 by 4.5, but you don't need to worry about that at this point. I'm just showing you how I determine the size of the batting. And really, it can be any size that's at least 5 by 5. The whole point is so that it will tack down and we can trim it. That's the whole point of having it be a little bit larger, so that it will tack down. All right, so 5 by 5 on your batting, 4 pieces. And we are going to quilt these. Each one has a different quilting design, and so I will show you how we're going to do that when we get to the embroider, or I'm sorry, when we get to the computer using Embrilliance Essentials. It will be a little different since the quilting designs are all different, and the quilting color. So that's the other thing, is since our main fabrics, all 4 of them are completely different, I'm going to use a different thread color for each of these. So we wouldn't want that part to combine. So I'll go over more of that when we get to the computer. And again, you can choose to do each one separately, or you can join them together depending on your hoop size. All right, so real quick, so let me tell you the quilting designs that we're going to use. So someone mentioned in our group just recently that they couldn't afford the quilting design, so they weren't going to quilt in the hoop. I want to recommend that if you're in that situation, buy one quilting design, buy one and do the entire quilt in that quilting design. Having it be quilted versus unquilted it looks very different, and it's also a new technique to learn and enjoy. So I highly recommend quilting it, and we're going to show you how to do that, and it's going to be really fun. And you can buy one quilting design for this entire project. I mean, you could do a really basic one like plaid or lines or wavy or any of the really basic ones, or you can choose one that is from the packet for this project. So like for instance, I'm going to just see if you can see this here. So here's the 4 that we're going to use. You could get this one. This is a very basic quilting design. You could get this one. And I'll go over when we get to the machine the names of them. Actually, I'm going to tell you that now. But you could choose any of these hearts. Oh my gosh, look at how cute that is. That would be great on every single quilt block. So if it were me, I would not give up the option of quilting this quilt. You can buy one design and that will work for you for all of them. That's my recommendation. All right, so let's go over what we're going to use. For those that bought the packet, there is a bundle. If you bought the bundle of the quilting designs, don't forget, by the way, if you haven't done it yet, when you purchase it, please use our sponsor's affiliate link. So My Girlfriend's Quilt Shop has a link. It's underneath the video, and that will, when you click on that, it brings you to the Kimberbell website, but it just puts a little cookie on your computer that says you're sponsoring or you're supporting our sponsor, My Girlfriend's Quilt Shop, and they get a little kickback from Kimberbell for all of the packets that they sell, the bundles. I keep saying packets, the bundles. So there is a bundle for this Oh So Delightful, and it works for all 8 projects. So for those that bought that, these are the quilting designs that we are going to use. So the first one is that pink arrow, like I mentioned, and for this one we're going to use Hearts 5, the quilting design Hearts 5 in a 4x4 quilting design, Hearts 5, and I'll show you when we get to the computer. And then for the second one, this is for Scissors 2, it was this fabric, and we're going to use radial lines 2, also in a 4x4 quilting design. All right, that's from the quilting bundle. And then for number 3, scissors 3, it was this navy blue arrow fabric, and we're going to use hobby 6 on this one. Oh, that's really cute. That would be a really cute overall one if you wanted to use hobby 6. If you only bought one quilting design, I think I'd probably buy hobby 6 because it has little swirlies, and then it's got scissors and a pin cushion and different things that really go along with all of these projects. So that would be a really fun one. So hobby 6 in a 4x4 design for scissors 3. And then for scissors 4, for the green one, we're going to use geometric 7. All right, and that's just got like 2, 4, 6 pentagon. Did we decide that was a pentagon? Or no, I think it's an octagon. No, octagon is probably 8. Oh my goodness. Anyway, it's geometric shape. So geometric 7 in a 4x4, and this is for scissors 4. All right, so we are going to just work on that today. I was really tempted to do more, but I'm going to keep it simple. This is our first design blocks for Oh So Delightful for the So Happy quilt, and I know a lot of you are doing this brand new. A lot of people are doing them after work and when time is available. So we're going to do this at a comfortable pace. As I mentioned in the Facebook group, I'm also working on the Red, White, and Bloom quilt, and I'm also working on the April Cuties, and we're finishing up the Swaddle Sweeties doll. So we've got a lot going on right now, and that's pretty abnormal for our group. So it makes it so that you'll have more time, because it does take me longer because I'm doing the tutorials, and the tutorials take a long time, a lot of editing and so many photos and all of that. So you will have time. Do not stress out that this first one has 4 blocks. You'll have time. What I try and base it on is when everyone starts posting their pictures. So when you're completed with your 4, share a photo. That's what makes this a group project. So you share a photo in the Cristin Creates group showing us that you've completed your 4, and then I've got a little mindset of like, okay, a bunch of people are ready to move on, so then I know to get ready on the next one. So that's what helps, and it makes it the camaraderie where we're all like, ooh, look at that, that looks so cool, and she finished it, and I need to finish mine still, and so on and so forth. So it is a group project. We're all doing it together. If you go ahead, which there's already people that have actually finished this quilt before we've started, and more power to you. You can do this your own way, but just so you know, I'm not going to comment on your post. If you post the pictures of a completed quilt or you're far ahead or whatever, great, no problem, but I'm not going to comment on it, because what happens is the people that are following me will end up sending me a lot of messages saying, did I miss a tutorial? What happened? And it just takes away from my time. So if you go ahead, don't worry about it, but you could hold off from posting your pictures, or at least just understand that I'm not going to respond and go, ooh, great job, because then it pulls the people that are following me to see what I'm commenting on, and then it causes confusion. So don't take it personally if I don't comment on your post if you've gone ahead. But I do want to see when you complete the 4 scissor blocks, so make sure to share a photo of that as part of our group project. And let's go ahead and get started. Hi everyone, I'm at my computer now, and I'm going to show you how to join some 4-inch blocks together if you choose to do that. So I am using Embrilliance Essentials, so let's go ahead and open that, and let me show you real quick. So if you're on a browser, if you haven't purchased Embrilliance yet, and if you're in the market for embroidery software, you can go to my link. It's www.embrilliance.com/jam affiliates/Cristin Creates, and I have a link in this video and underneath the video that you can always check it out. So from here, you can go here to Essentials, that's the one that I use, or you can go to the store. Either one will work just the same. So if you click on Essentials, you can see it right there. Embrilliance Essentials, that's what I use, and I love it. I think it works so extremely easily, and it's very user friendly. So I like it. And also you can have this on all of the computers in your house, both PC and Macs. There's no extra fee. You get all of the lifetime updates for free, and it's $139 right now on sale until March 24th. So it's a really good product. It's a great deal. I really enjoy it. And if you use my affiliate link, then it gives a little kickback to me as being the person that's creating the tutorials for you. All right, so I have Embrilliance Essentials open now. My background is light pink. I think it starts out as white or yellow, but if you go to this preferences folder here and you go to display settings, that's where you can change your background color to whatever you want. So mine's pink, of course, right? Okay, so I'm gonna just close this. So right now I am on my 10 by 10 hoop. You can see it down here at the bottom. You can always see what hoop size that you're on. That's actually the hoop that I want to use, but if you're not on the hoop that you want to use, you would go up here to this preferences folder again, click on that, and the very first thing over here on program preferences under environment is hoops. It automatically opens up to the hoops since that's what we use a lot. And then you would click on whatever hoop that you want to use. It starts as millimeters if I recall, and I changed the wording on mine. And so like you can see it's got 180 by 300 for a 7 by 12. So I just clicked on that and I clicked edit and I added in 7 by 12 since I don't work in metrics. So there's a lot of things that you can do on this, whatever works for you, but I am going to go ahead and keep with my 10 by 10 hoop, and that's one that I added in. It wasn't already there. And I added in the sewing field, which is 272 millimeters by 272 millimeters. It's just under 11 by 11. So you can see down here, it's 10 and 11/16 by 10 and 11/16. So once you've changed your hoop, I like to go up here to this compass button, click on that, and then I click on H. You can't see a change right now since I'm already on the hoop that I'm going to use. But if you were on a different hoop, you could see that it would change. Let me go ahead and just do a different hoop so you can see what I'm talking about. So say I'm on my 5 by 7 hoop and I say okay. So see right here, it's zoomed out. If you click on that compass button and you click H, it zooms in to the full hoop so that you can see everything that you're putting into that hoop area. So I'm going to go back to my 10 by 10 again. And it's down here and say okay, and then see I can't even see my hoop right now. So you can do it by moving the mouse button. So your mouse button will make it so that you can zoom in or out, but an easy way just to make sure you're getting all of it is that H button on the compass. All right, so we are on our 10 by 10 hoop right now. I'm going to go ahead and start by bringing in the first quilting design. So we always start with the quilting design first before bringing in the embroidery design. So right here, this merge stitch file button, if I click on that, it will ask me where are the files on your computer that you want me to open up. I'm going to close up Red, White, and Bloom because I just did a tutorial for that. And I have them on my desktop and I have it under Oh So Delightful right there. So you can see I'm on my desktop. There's other options for your hard drive, wherever you have it. It's just asking you where you want to look for that file. So I'm going to click on this little plus sign. It opens up my Oh So Delightful, and then I have the embroidery files and I have the quilting bundle there. That's what I'm looking for. And so click on that, and then there are the different designs. So the first one for that pink fabric is Hearts 5. So there's Hearts 5 right there. I'm going to click on that because there's probably a block by block and a clear blue tiles version. I have a whole tutorial on the block by block versus the clear blue tiles. So let me just tell you, you want to click on the block by block. I get a lot of people ask questions and say, oh my gosh, I didn't have all of those 5 steps of quilting like you did. I only had the quilting design. That means you're in the clear blue tiles. So the clear blue tiles, look, I'll show you real quick. So see the clear blue tiles version just has the quilting design, which is step 5 of the quilting. It just has that. Throughout this whole project, we're going to be using the block by block version. So if you click on that and then click on the design, see there are the placement stitches for the batting and the placement stitches for the main fabric and the tack down of both of those. There's the full 5 steps. So make sure that when you open up a quilting design, you click on the block by block folder, okay? And some of them don't have the clear blue tile version, but they all have the block by block version. So make sure that you're clicking on a block by block folder. And I use Pez for my machine. You can see there's a lot of different formats for all the various machines. So I am looking for Hearts 5. I'm in the Hearts 5 folder, and then I'm looking for a 4x4. So they're in numerical order, so I'm just going to scroll down here, and should be right there. There it is. Look at how cute that is. Oh my gosh, I love that. So it's funny because when I first saw this, I almost bought the design and then realized it's going to be part of the bundle, and so I bought the whole bundle. So all right, so if we click on the 4x4 of the Hearts 5, I'm going to just double click on that, and it goes to the center of your embroidery workspace, or your Embrilliance workspace. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and move this over. I'm going to bring it over here. All right, so I haven't already tested this, so it'll be interesting to see, but I know right from the start that we've got all these default blues and oranges, and if we didn't change the color on that, when we do a color sort, it would join those. So this default one blue and this default one blue would join together, and then you would lose out on that placement stitch for the batting and the placement stitch for the main fabric. You would just have one, and there's a specific purpose to each of these 5 steps, so we don't want that to happen. Since we are going to join 4 different blocks, I'm going to go ahead and just change the colors of them. That makes it easy to be able to do a color sort later. All right, so I'm thinking that there might be an easier way, because we've got 4 of them and they're all different. We could actually do, since it's our beginner, I don't want to confuse you too much, but you really could bring in 1 and delete the quilting design and have these all be the same, edit all of those, and then just do a bunch of copy and paste and then bring in just the quilting design. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself, sorry, thinking of different ways of doing this. So we're going to do it just really basic. All right, don't worry, I promise this is very, very doable. So here's our first one. That's our quilting design. I'm going to go ahead and just click on this 1-1, the very first one, and I'm going to click on this color here, and I'm just going to change the color to colors that I want them to all be for the 4 different steps. You'll see as we keep going, but it doesn't matter what color you choose as long as it's the same color later, you'll see. But the first color that comes up for me is dark aqua, and I'm just going to go ahead and click on that just because it's the easiest thing. I'm using Filtech Glide as my preferred threads, and so yours may come up different. It doesn't matter. Again, it's just what you choose one color, and it's the same for all 4, so that they will color join when we sort them. All right, so I'm going to click on this dark aqua and say okay. All right, so you can see that it changed that. Now on 1-2, I'm going to click on 1-2, click on the color, and the first one that comes up for me is Blaze, so I'm going to say okay. All right, and then 1-3, we're going to click on 1-3. You can see the numbers right here, and then click on the color, and we already used dark aqua. You can see it right there. So we're going to use the next one down, which is Marine, and I'm going to say okay. And then 1-4, same thing. So we've already used Blaze. So if we click on this color, the first one that comes up is Blaze. The second one is Oriole. And again, this is because I'm using Filtech Glide as my preferred thread colors. Whichever thread color comes up for you, make sure not to choose the first one because that's what we used on the first one. All right, so Oriole is our second one. So you can see we have Dark Aqua, Blaze, Marine, and Oriole. And then default 17 turquoise. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to make sure and change it, but I'm going to change it on all 4 so that we get that color stop, so that it will stop so that we can change our thread color. We don't want those to join, so we want different colors for all 4 of those. So the first one that comes up for me is Sprout. So I'm going to click on Sprout and say okay. All right, so that one is done. Now I'm going to go ahead and bring in the next quilting design. So again, I'm going to go to this merge stitch file here. All right, and then I'm going to close Hearts 5 that we just used, and we're looking for radial lines 2 right there, radial lines 2. So I'm going to click on that plus sign, and then click on the plus sign for embroidery files, and then Pez. So see, this did not have a clear blue tiles version, and I'll show you why in just a second. So this one is just the block by block. So if I go to, let's see, scissors 2, I'm looking for a 4x4 numerical order. So I'm going down, there it is right there. So 4x4, it goes to the center. I'm going to go ahead and grab it and just bring it over here to the corner, making absolutely sure not to go over the hoop lines. This yellow line around the entire design is the hoop line. And you can see from these black squares that I'm not over. If it were over, I wouldn't be able to see those black squares. So just make sure that you're within your workspace. All right, so see how this one is different, and I want to point this out. This one could be a clear blue tiles version. We're using the block by block, but you can see that it stays within the square. All right, the whole design is within the square, whereas this goes over. So this here, this orange line, is the placement stitch for our batting. And then this one is the placement stitch for our main fabric. And you can see that the quilting design goes over that placement stitch of the batting. And the reason for that is so that it looks seamless. It looks like instead of all being enclosed in one box, it goes over into the stitching. And it doesn't matter because we are going to trim away our batting, but if you didn't trim away your batting, then you now have that stitched on and you won't be able to, you'll have batting in your seams. We are going to cut away, trim our batting before we get to this quilting design, so it's not going to matter. It will go into the seams that we are going to sew for our 1/4 inch seam allowance. I hope I'm not confusing you too much, but that's the difference of a clear blue tiles version that all stays in the box. Even though we're using the block by block, this one could be a clear blue tiles version, whereas this one cannot because it goes into the seams. I hope that makes sense. And again, I have an entire tutorial about that. All right, so again, we're just going to really quickly run through and change the colors, but we want to use the same colors on the first 4 and a different color on this last one, on the 5th quilting design, because we don't want that to join. All right, so real quick, we're going to click on 2-1, click on the color, and then we want to make sure to use the color that we used before so that those will sort together. So the first one was dark aqua, so I'm going to click on that and say okay. You can always see them right up here. And then default 2, this is 2-2, click on the color, and we want the same color we used before, which is blaze. All right, and then 2-3, click on the color, and you can see right here we used marine, so I'm going to click on marine, excuse me. And then for 2-4, this orange, click on that. And you can see here that we used Oriole, so I'm going to click on the color and click on Oriole. All right, and then we used Sprout before, and we don't want to use Sprout because we want to make sure that these don't join for the actual quilting design. So here you can see there's 5 steps of the quilting. See all of those? So the first one is the placement for the batting. It shows us where to lay down our batting. The second one is the tack down of the batting. The third one is the placement of the main fabric. And then the tack down of the main fabric is number 4, and number 5 is the actual quilting design. So on this 5-2-5, I'm going to click on the color, and we already used Sprout. You can see it right there. So I'm going to click the next color down, which is sea green. And again, it doesn't matter what color you use. You just want it to be a different color so that it's not joining. All right, so those 2 are done. I'm going to go to Merge Stitch File, and I'm going to bring in the 3rd one. So for scissors 3, we're using Hobby 6. I'm going to close this one. All right, and quilting bundle. I closed too much. There we go. Hobby 6 right there. Open it up. Embroidery files, and see this one has block by block and clear blue tiles. So make sure to click the block by block version. Click that plus sign, and then Pez is what I use for my machine. You click on whatever format that your machine uses, and we're looking for a 4x4. Look at how cute that 2x2 is. How cute! I bet you will use that on some of the filler blocks. All right, so I'm scrolling down. There's the 4x4 right there. So this, you can see, this is the one I was saying that if you can only purchase one quilting design, this would be a really cute one. This one would go with everything really well. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. It went to the center, so I'm going to bring it down to the bottom right hand corner, and I'm going to change the colors just like I did before, all right, using the same colors from before. I'm going to close this first one. This minus sign, if I click on that, it just closes it, so I have a little bit more room. All right, so I'm on number 3. Make sure you're working on number 3. This 1, 3, 1, click on the color, and we want to use the same colors as before, so dark aqua was the first one that I used. And then 3, 2, click on the color, and you can see here we used Blaze. Say OK. And then 3, 3, and I'm just using my mouse to scroll down, or you can use this to go up or down. 3, 3, and we used Marine, so I'm going to click on the color and choose Marine. And then 3, 4, we used Oriole, so I'm going to click on the color and choose Oriole. All right, and then don't forget on this last one, on 3, 5, we want it to be different than what we already used. So the last one we used was sea green. You can see it right up there. I'm going to click on the color, and I'm going to go to the next color, which for me is mint, the third color down. All right, and that one's done. You can see this is such a quick process. All right, so merge stitch file to bring in the last one. I'm going to close out the Hobby 6. And the last one is Geometric 7 right there. Embroidery files. This is another block by block or CBT. So make sure not to click on this clear blue tiles version. We want the block by block version. So I use Pez for my machine, and I'm going to look for the 4x4 right there. Geometric 7 in 4x4. Double click on that, and it goes to the center. I'm going to click on the stitching. If I were to click in the open area, so this one has quite a bit of open area, if I clicked on that, I can't move it. You can see it doesn't let me move it. So you have to click on the stitching to be able to move the design. And I'm just bringing it down to the lower right hand corner without going over the hoop at all. Okay, I see. Yep, that's good. All right, so for this last one, I'm going to bring it down just a tiny bit. All right, so same thing as before. I'm going to click on 4, 1. I'm going to close 2 just to give me a little bit more room. All right, so 4. I'm on 4, 1. Click on the color, and we want the same as before, and we know we used dark aqua. And then 4, 2. Click on the color, and we used Blaze. 4, 3. Click on the color, and we used Marine, the second one down. And then 4, 4, click on the color, and we used Oriole, the second one down on the oranges. And then we want a different color, so we have to look here. We used Mint, so we want the fourth one down. 1, 2, 3, 4 is Magic Mint. Okay, and those are done. So when we do a color sort, which we're not going to do right now, but when we do a color sort, you can see that the ones that have all the same colors will join together, whereas the ones that have the different colors, the fifth step of each one, will not join. So that will be great. That's what we want. All right, now we need to bring in the scissors designs. Now, it looks like there's going to be 4 different designs. So I'm going to go to Merge Stitch File. We've already brought in all of the quilting, so now it's time to bring in the embroidery design. I'm just closing these quilting designs, and where am I? Oh, So Delightful embroidery files right there. And I use Pez, and So Happy is what we are working on. Yep, there's the 4 different scissors designs. All right, so I'm going to bring in this first one. I'm going to double click on it, and it goes to the center. I'm going to take a quick peek at the colors. Oh, there's only 2. Oh, so this is going to be really easy. So there is just the one part of the scissor and the second part of the scissor. So that's going to be very easy. All right, so what we want to do, you can click on the design, making sure that you have 2 parts. There's only 2 parts to it. You'll just want to make sure that you have both. And I'm going to bring it over here. Now you can sit there and eyeball it and try and get it just right for it to be centered, but we can use a really easy step. Let me see here. I just closed those. So I want to click on 1, which is the quilting design for this one. And then I want to hit the control button with my finger on the control button and click on number 5. That makes it so that I've got both 1 and 5 selected. You can see the first part of the quilting and the 5th is the scissors. And then I'm going to go up here and I'm going to go to Utility, Align and Distribute. And I'm in the Align tab and I'm going to hit Center, Center, and watch the scissors. The scissors should move. It's pretty close to the center now, so there won't be a lot of movement, but that's the purpose, is to see it moved a little bit so that it shows us exactly where the center is, so that now that it's perfectly centered. All right, so that's done. That was easy, making sure that I had 1 and 5 selected. All right, so now I'm going to bring in the next the next scissors design. I closed up number 5. I'm clicking on Merge Stitch File, and I'm going to find So Happy Scissors 2 right there. Double click on that. It goes to the center again. I'm going to click on it and bring it over here. I think you don't even actually have to move it. We'll try that on the next one. All right, so number 2. So if I click on number 2 quilting right there, number 2 is the second design that we have, and then I'm going to click that control button on my keyboard and click number 6 so that the quilting design and the scissors 2 are both selected, and go to Utility, Align and Distribute, and I'm going to click Center, Center, and say Apply, and you can see that that moved a lot. All right, so that one is all done now as well. All right, and then let's bring in our number 3, scissors 3, Merge Stitch File, So Happy, and right there, scissors 3. I'm going to double click on that. I'm going to leave it there and just see. I'm sure it will do the same thing, but let's just make sure. So number 3, I'm going to click on number 3 quilting design right there, and then I'm going to hit the control button and click on number 7 design, which is scissors 3, and I'm going to do the Utility, Align and Distribute, Center, Center, and say Apply. All right, and it did. It moved it, but it also moved the entire design, which is totally fine. Since they're both selected, make sure they're both selected, I can easily just move it back in place. All right, so that one's done as well. So now I'm going to go to Merge Stitch File and bring in the last scissors. So I'm in So Happy, and right there, scissors 4. Double click on that. I'm going to bring it over a little bit and see if it still will move that box. I'm curious if it will. All right, so I want to click on number 4, the quilting design number 4, and then I want to click Control and click on scissors 4 and go to Utilities, Align and Distribute, and Center, Center, Apply. All right, and it does move it a little bit. You can see it moved out of the corner. So I'm just going to move this back over. All right, so those are done. We have all 4 of the quilting designs, all 4 of the scissors designs, and now we need to see what will join and what will work for us. So we're right now at 28 color steps. So if we were to leave it like this without doing a color sort, what would happen is it would start on all of quilting 1, then go to quilting 2. So what we're doing is we'd be bringing our hoop in on and off to be able to trim that batting. So if we can do it all in one step, that's going to save us quite a bit of time and a lot less steps. So we currently have 28 steps. There will still be a lot because of all of the different scissors and each of the different quilting designs, but what we really want is those first 4 steps of the quilting to join together on all 4. So let's see if we can make that happen. So if I go, I'm right now on Untitled 1, this is the first tab, and we have 8 different designs. So if I go to Utility Color Sort, and it thinks, and it says it's reduced it by 12 color changes. Now notice here, I've pointed this out on a lot of videos, it's very important to have the same results that I have. You need to have the same settings that I have. So I don't have this RHS pre-sort selected. I don't have Force Applique Position or Material selected. And the tolerance level is at 0. All right, so make sure that you have those same settings. All right, now I always recommend clicking on New View so that we can see just what it did, and then we still have our other tab in case it didn't go as we expected. So if I click New View, see it makes a new tab. So we still have that first tab that has the 8 different designs, and now we have Untitled 2 tab, which has everything as one design. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this and just run through and make sure it did what I'm hoping that it did. So we have, yep, all 4 of the placement stitches for the main fabric. So that's perfect. That alone right there saves us a bunch of time. And then we have the tack down of the batting. Perfect, all together. And the placement stitch of the main fabric all together, and the basting stitch or the tack down stitch of the main fabric. So that's exactly what we wanted to happen. And then we have each of the quilting designs separated because we have those in a different color so that it will give us time to be able to change our thread color. And then we will focus on the first 2 steps of scissors 1 and the first 2 steps, or the 2 steps of scissors 2, and the 2 steps of scissors 3, and the 2 steps of scissors 4. So that worked out exactly perfectly. There was something else I wanted to tell you. Oh, I know. So in this preferences, I want to point this out. If you click on preferences and you go to this jumps overlaps, I think is where it was. Yes, so right here. If you're getting a different result from me than what I'm getting, then this is another possible change. So this jump overlaps, see right here where it says remove overlaps when saving stitch files. So if you're noticing that your quilting design, like say underneath the scissors right here, it would not stitch the full quilting design. And that's fine. It would make a jump stitch there and it would stitch right over once you start doing the scissors. But it has caused some confusion with some people. I like the fact that we have this option with Embrilliance Essentials, especially when you're working on a big applique and you've got a background design. It will take away those stitches underneath. It's just a waste. It takes away the bulk. It takes away the time of stitching that. But in this scenario, I would recommend having it off only because it can cause confusion, because there's been people that will stitch out their quilting design and go, oh my gosh, I don't have the quilting part that's under here. There's a blank. Why didn't it do all of the quilting? And that's why. If you have this highlighted here, if you have it selected, then it will not stitch the stitches underneath the other stitching. Does that make sense? All right, so I have it turned off right now. And to do that, I did preferences, and then it's in the jumps overlaps tab. All right, so I'm just going to say cancel because I've already got that set. So this is all done. It's perfect. I'm going to do a file, save stitch file as, and I'm in red, white, and bloom, so I'm going to tell it to find my, let's see, desktop, OSD right there, and I think that's embroidery. Oh, I do want it in the embroidery. I'm going to put it in the embroidery files. Pez, so happy. And then I'm going to name it scissors 4, or 1 through 4, or scissors all. I think I'll do scissors all. You could say scissors with quilting, whatever you want it to say that will help you to find it, to be able to pull it up. And I'm going to say save. All right, and my machine isn't on right now. If you have a Wi-Fi enabled machine, then you could go to Utility, send to Solaris XP1. The Luminaire is the XP1, or Solaris is the Baby Lock version. If you don't have one of those machines, you would just easily use a USB stick to transfer the design to the USB stick and bring it to your embroidery machine. But this is how to do all 4 of the designs with the quilting and with the embroidery all together in one hooping if you have a large enough hoop. Again, you could just do 2 in one hooping. The technique is the same. I showed you all of the steps. So anyway, let's go ahead and get stitching our first part of Oh So Delightful, So Happy. right, for those that haven't used the orange pop rollers before, I'm going to try and show you. Hopefully you can see on this video. So the scissors blocks need to be cut down to 4.5 by 4.5, and I like to do them upside down or right side down so that I can see the seam allowance. So I just put them right side down, and then I center the block very carefully. Take some time getting it just right so that you've got a 1/4 inch seam allowance on each side. 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch, all the way around. And then once you have it right, then you're going to take your rotary cutter, and starting on the left side, if you're right-handed, down into this channel here, put your rotary cutter and then cut up into the next channel. Then use your rotating mat to turn it, and do again on the left side. Again, rotate left side, and last one. All right, and then it will pop right out, and you've got your block with the 4.5 inch seam allowance. With the 1/4 inch seam allowance, 4.5 by 4.5 for the entire block. Do that for all 4 of your blocks. And don't forget, if you haven't created your goal yet, I really, really like it when everyone creates a goal to work toward during this entire group project. So it can be really anything. Eat healthier, get some exercise, clean up your craft room, get caught up on old projects, get along with your husband better, stay away from narcissistic relationships, whatever it is. I would love it if you would share. It helps keep us all accountable and helps us all be working toward a goal and working toward being our best selves. So that is my purpose for creating a goal. So my goal for this project is good vibes. So finding joy and being happy and enjoying the process and enjoying the journey. That's my goal. So yesterday, my goal, right? So we've had a lot of snow, a lot of rain, a lot of ice, and yesterday we had this day that was supposed to be 57 degrees, and I was like, oh my gosh, 57 degrees in winter Idaho, that's pretty exciting. So I decided that it was going to be extremely important for me to get out. Part of me wanted to start this OSD yesterday, and then I thought, no, the rain is coming back again. It's here again today. And we're getting snow again. And so we have a small one day where it's supposed to be really nice. It was really, really, really important to me to get out. So, so I made a goal of just getting out. And so I sent a message to several of my friends yesterday, and I said, so it's really last minute notice, but does anyone happen to want to go for a hike? And I got several responses, and one gal was available very last minute. And so she and I went and we hiked Table Rock yesterday, which is this monstrous hill. Oh my gosh, it's so hard. It's 900 feet of climbing and like a mile and a half up to the top. Probably a little bit more than that, and then back down. And so it's just really, really, really steep. And up at the top of this monstrous mountain is this gorgeous cross, absolutely gorgeous cross. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So, I mean, you feel like you're climbing to a purpose, you know, it's just a really, really cool. For me, it's a really big deal. So I was so thankful to have this friend available to join me for this yesterday, and we worked hard. I mean, we were like breathing really hard and just getting a really good workout, and so much chatter. We talked the whole way, even though we were breathing so hard. So this wind is pushing us back. It's like an intense wind, super crazy, while we're climbing up a hill, going up to Table Rock. Me and my buddy Kelly, both breast cancer survivors. Yeah, so getting our hard breathing on. So hard. She and I are both breast cancer survivors, and it just was amazing. It was super fun, and I was so thankful to have that day to get together and outside. And so now I'm like all filled up, and I'm ready to start this project and just work hard, and because I got that day out. So if you haven't gotten out lately, get out for a little walk, take your dog for a walk, whatever you have, enjoy a little outside time, and whatever you're doing, find the joy in it and share what you're doing for your goal. And my shirt today, because I always get questions, what shirt are you wearing? Where'd you get it? Where's the design from? This one is from Applique Corner, and actually when I shared it the first time, a bunch of people made the same shirt. And mine's a sweater actually, but it's a really fun design. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a motif design. And then I added this wording, so happy, because we're working on the So Happy quilt. And the So Happy, I used Embellishment Essentials, and I used this envelope tutorial that I did where you can change the wording to be at this angle. And so that was super fun. I really enjoy this shirt. I like it a lot. Like I said, it's from Applique Corner, and it's just a really fun design. And I love that a bunch of people made this. So if you haven't seen my tutorial on how to embroider on shirts and sweaters, you definitely want to look that up. It makes it so that you have absolutely no puckering, even large stitch count designs. I've done it on thin shirts, thick shirts, hooded shirts. So I've got this really good technique that I use for embroidering on shirts. So make sure to check out that tutorial if you haven't.